welcome back. Or if you have not met me before, hi, my name is Beth. I live in Hawaii. I rescue animals and I make videos to help shelter doggies get adopted. Part of what I do is foster dogs. And in the process of me sharing about the dogs that I've been fostering and my fostering journey, I have had many questions, comments, links, messages on our different platforms asking me about fostering, about all kinds of things, how I got started, how much it costs, how do I go and get a dog to foster, like what do I do with my foster dog? And so I thought that I would just make a little video combining all of that information into one so that if you are curious about fostering, you guys can get some answers based on my personal experience. Hmm. Sorry, Amazon's here in case you're wondering. Pudgey. Pudgey boy. It's okay. It's okay. Yes, you are such a good alert dog. You are such a good alarm dog. I know. Thank you for keeping me safe. I know. Good boy. Good boy. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Apologies for that brief interruption. Let's just dive straight into your questions, shall we? Alrighty. Question number one is, what is fostering? So, to put it in the simplest terms possible, fostering is an agreement that you make with a shelter or a rescue organization to take care of a dog for a set amount of time. And there's a couple of different types of fostering that we do that I will go into. So, the first type is with our local animal shelter. So, these are dogs that currently have a spot in a shelter. So, the shelter, Hawaiian Humane Society, has a physical location where these animals are cared for. And when you are fostering with them, their program is called Couch Crashers, which is really cute. When you're fostering them with them, you are taking care of the dog for up to 2 weeks. It can be a little bit different if you're doing medical fostering, but I'll get into that in a second. And what that means is that the doggy gets to come and live with you and be in your home and experience life in a house for a couple of weeks while you have them. And the reason that this is so beneficial for shelter dogs is that the kennel environment can be incredibly stressful. It's loud, it's noisy, it is not a dog's natural environment, right? They're not designed, built to be in these cages with all of these strangers coming and walking by them every single day and all these other dogs barking and going off. So, any amount of time that they can get out of there, whether it's a day or a couple of weeks, it's super beneficial for them. And there are studies about that. I can try to link some down below in the description box for you, but you can also go ahead and do your own research. It's great. They need breaks. So that is the first type of fostering. The second type of fostering that we do is home-based rescue fostering. So these are organizations that don't necessarily have a physical location, and they rely entirely on members of the community opening up their homes to be able to rescue animals. The particular organization that we have done this with is called PAWS of Hawaii. All of these organizations links will be down below so you guys can check them out. So typically how this works, this is usually a longer term fostering period because there is no returning the dog to the shelter or to the physical location at the end of your foster stay. So that's what happens when you foster with a shelter that has a physical location. If the dog is not adopted during the time that they're with you, then you return them to the shelter at the end of their stay. Now, with home-based rescuing, that is not the case because there's not a physical location to return them to. So essentially, they stay in your care until they get adopted. Now, what we currently do with PAWS of Hawaii is called respite fostering. So, what that means is essentially that we cannot have a long term foster dog right now because of our lifestyle. It just would be really challenging for us to have a third dog permanently all the time until they get adopted. So, what we do instead is we agree to take dogs for a few weeks at a time when their long term fosters need a break, which can typically in this case is that they're going on a trip. And so the organization needs somebody to watch the foster while they're gone. And that's usually around a week, sometimes 2 weeks. So this is a really good option for you if you're wanting to like dip your toes into fostering, or if you don't think that you can do the longer term commitment, respite fostering may be the best avenue. And question number two kind of goes along with this, which is what are my responsibilities as a doggy foster parent? So, when you agree to foster a dog, they essentially become yours for that time period. That does not mean that you own that dog. Custody of the dog still belongs to the organization that you are fostering with, but it does mean that you are responsible for their care and meeting their needs. So, feeding them, making sure they're getting water, taking them to veterinary appointments, making sure that they're getting playtime and love and mental and physical stimulation. That's all your responsibility. Now, that does not mean that you're paying for all of that, which I will get into in the next question, but it's important for you to know that because it does mean that it's going to take your time and your energy. And depending on the type of dog that you have, that can be a big commitment. So being aware of that from the start is crucial. That brings us to how much does it actually cost to foster a dog? Nothing. It costs you not a single penny to foster unless you want it to. So, what I mean by that is that the organization is going to provide you with the animal's essentials when they set you up with the dog. So, they're going to give you food and they will typically give you things like a harness and a leash, the basics that you're going to need to take care of them. When we've fostered puppies in the past, they've also, some organizations have provided us with a crate and puppy pads. So you do want to do your research ahead of time. So if you have questions, make sure that you ask the place that you are fostering with what they provide and what they're expecting you to provide. I have seen organizations before that have requested that foster parents help cover the cost of food. That was a home-based rescue, so just be aware of that, but 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna cost you anything. That being said, I have made the choice many times in the past to pay for things myself for my foster dogs. I love to buy them toys, I love to buy them treats. I've paid for puppy pads and things like that on my own just because I want to, but that isn't something that was required of me by the places that I'm fostering the dogs from. If you do think that you are going to be fostering consistently or long term, a couple of things that we have invested in to make life easier for us is a crate. So we do have a crate from when we adopted Puck because he was a puppy then and we created him in the evenings. But we were actually gifted a second crate, which has been really nice. So we now have two sizes, but I always crate my fosters, especially at night when we're sleeping, for safety reasons. They don't know you yet. You don't know them yet. We have other animals in our home. It's just better for everybody that they get crated at night and have their own separate space. The second thing that I've invested in recently is washable puppy pads. So, knowing that I'm going to be having doggies come and go from my house, we do still have disposable ones, but I just find that it's a little bit better. The washable ones aren't a big problem to me. They cover more of my floor. I can reuse them. I don't mind throwing them in my wash and getting them clean. And it's better for the environment than constantly going through all of those puppy pads. This is a side note and was not a specific question that somebody asked me, but in the spirit of transparency, I do want to talk about it. And that is if you are planning on fostering a puppy, and even if you are planning on fostering an adult dog, particularly from a shelter, be prepared for accidents to happen in your home. Okay, it's gonna happen. Puppies, particularly 6 months and under, they're not potty trained. They're not going to come to you potty trained. Okay, so be aware that they may have a pee pee on your floor, they may have a poo poo on your floor, and you're going to have to clean it up. And if you don't think that that's for you, then fostering might not be it for you. And that's okay. That is okay. We will talk about things that may be it for you. And the reason that I say to be aware of this with adult dogs as well, especially when they're coming from a shelter, is because these dogs are in their kennels probably like 20 hours a day. And they're pooping in there, they're peeing in there. That is like when they might get to go out for 1 or 2 walks a day to use the bathroom, but most of the time they're in the kennel. So it's gonna take them a couple of days to get used to oh, I get to go to the bathroom outside multiple times a day, or oh, this is what my auntie, my foster auntie or uncle wants me to do is to go to the bathroom outside. It takes dogs a couple of days to get settled into a routine. So just be patient with them. Make sure you utilize your positive reinforcement tools. Those things are going to benefit you in the long run. Next question is, how do I get started? The best thing to do is to research organizations in your area and figure out who is looking for fosters and who you might want to foster with. Like I mentioned before, there are different organizations that specialize in certain things. So some might be more inclined to puppies, some might specifically focus on senior dogs, and then some might be a mix of all in between. So kind of figure out who you might want to work with and then reach out to the rescue. So, home based rescues will often have a foster application linked on their website or on one of their social media pages, in which case you will go ahead and fill out that application that will just ask for a little bit of more information about you, your experience with dogs, your experience with fostering, and then they will go ahead and contact you and talk to you about next steps. Now, if you're interested in fostering from a shelter, particularly here at the Hawaiian Humane Society, literally all you have to do is walk in the front door and say, I'm interested in couch crashing a dog, and they will help you figure it out. So, when you're walking around the facility there at the Humane Society, you may see some kennels that have a green sign on them that say, Can I crash on your couch? And these are dogs that specifically the staff there feel could truly use a break from the shelter and would benefit from being in a home. And they also think could do well in a home. So you can start by looking for those signs. And also, if you are at all concerned about feeling like you need a particular kind of dog to fit your lifestyle, then go and talk to the staff because there are all sorts of dogs that need the chance at a foster home. There are small dogs, there are big dogs, there are puppies, there are seniors, there are high energy, feisty, adventurous dogs. There are ones that just want to like chill out on your couch. So just let the staff know who you're kind of looking for and what your lifestyle is like, and they will be able to help you pick somebody out. Next question is, how long is the commitment? This is a little bit tricky to answer because it can vary vastly depending on the organization and the dog's situation. I have had fosters for 1 to 2 days, all the way up to several months. I have known people that have been fostering a dog for up to a year or more. I don't want that to scare you because essentially it is as long as you want it to be. If you go to an organization and say, I can foster a dog for a weekend, most likely you're going to be able to find one that can make that work or that has a dog that they need those services for. And if they don't have that in the moment, then they'll take your name down and there may be an opportunity in the future where they do need that type of help and they'll reach out to you and let you know. If you don't feel like you can make the commitment of having a dog in your care for several weeks or several months and living in your home, then you can consider doing doggy field trips. So I do this also through the Humane Society. Their program is called Ilio Explorers, and this is essentially that you are being like a doggy foster for a day. So you get the chance to go to the shelter, they give you a dog to take out, and you just get to spend the day with them doing fun activities, hanging out, taking naps if you want to. And this is sort of a taste, really, of what it would be like to foster. And it also gives you the opportunity to make a difference for a dog, even if you can't do so by bringing one into your care in your home for, a longer period of time. So I'd encourage you to check that out. Check your local shelters to see if that is an option there. If it's not, maybe you want to bring it up with them and see if it's a program that they're willing to get started because honestly, it's super beneficial. It's a ton of fun. Go watch some of my field trip videos if you haven't before. I always have a blast with every single dog that I take out. Truly, every single one. Next question is, how do I make the time when I have a busy and full lifestyle? I think this is something that is a common worry for a lot of people that they are scared that they're not able to foster a dog because they're not going to be able to give it him or her all of their attention all the time. That is not the expectation of any rescue. I'm going to tell you that right now. Rescues, shelters, they understand that people have full-time jobs, that people have to work, that they have other obligations.
I have been lucky enough that I've been able to bring my foster dogs with me to my workplace in the past. But even when I haven't been able to do that, when I am not home, my foster dogs and even my own personal dogs have been crated. And it is completely okay to crate a dog for around 5 to 6 hours a day, as long as you are being responsible ahead of time. And what I mean by that is make sure that they get their potty breaks, make sure that they get some physical and mental exercise, and give them something stimulating that they can have in their kennel. So for example, I always put in like a chew toy and a stuffy if it's a dog that's not going to rip it open and be dangerous for them. I can honestly say I do not know a single shelter dog that would prefer to stay in the shelter in a kennel than be in a quiet, warm, loving home, even if they have to be in a crate for some time during the day.
What I would encourage you to do is consider the type of dog that you're open to fostering. Puppies require a lot more attention than adult dogs. Seniors are, of course, much lower energy than puppies and adult dogs. Even different breeds of dogs, right? I have a pitty and I have a Shar Pei. My pitty mix, it requires way more physical exercise and stimulation than my Shar Pei mix does. They have two different personalities, two different types of needs. So I encourage you to talk to, hi, this is what I mean. See? See? So I encourage you to talk to the rescue and let them know what your lifestyle is like. Don't be afraid to tell them, this is what my work schedule is like. This is how much energy and time I think that I can commit to this. These are how many hours a day that I think that I can commit to this. And they'll guide you in the right direction. And they may tell you, fostering doesn't sound like it's a feasible fit for you right now, but here's something that could be. Also, along with that, volunteers and rescues are always looking. Did I say volunteers? Sorry, guys. Shelters and rescues are always looking for volunteers. So even if you don't think that you can foster, if you are able to give, an hour or two of your time a week to, for example, I'm a dog walker at the shelter. If you think that you can go and walk dogs for a couple of hours, go and clean some kennels, do some laundry, whatever your skill set, whatever your gifts, whatever your physical capacity, a shelter or rescue can find a volunteer job for you. There's even a volunteer who offers her photography services to take nicer photos of the dogs for the websites, and that's really beneficial too. Even if you think you can't help, you definitely can, and there's a way to make it happen. Another question that came up was, how do I choose or pick out a dog to foster? So sometimes it depends on the organization. You don't really have a choice on the dog. You can kind of tell them what type of dog you're hoping to foster, but generally, especially with foster home based rescues, they're just going to assign you someone that they think is a good fit, also based on the needs of the rescue. With shelter based fostering, it's a little bit different because, of course, you can go in and ask about fostering a particular dog. Not every dog is going to be available for that opportunity. Or they might ask you questions about your lifestyle and about your ability to care for the dog, and they may recommend somebody else. But I will share about my personal experiences, which have been a mix of both. So we've done fostering where dogs have just been kind of like assigned to us, and thankfully it's worked out fine. We've had some dogs that have been a little bit more hyper than what we would typically adopt as like a permanent animal in our home. But again, we've adapted and made it work for the time that we've had them. Some of my most recent couch crashers, though, are one of those just like magical bonding experiences. This is going to sound a little bit woo woo to some of you. And I'm not saying that this happens every single time or that it's going to be everyone's experience, but it certainly has been mine. And that's just when I walk into a shelter and just connect with a dog. And I just know that I'm meant to help them. And I know that we're going to mean something to each other. And again, I know that that sounds silly, but it's true. And that was the case with Harmony, who was one of my couch crashers from the Hawaiian Society. The first time that I saw her in her kennel, I was enamored. And I knew that we could not have a permanent third dog. And so I did not even consider pushing it any further because I knew that it would be really challenging for me to not just want to keep her. So it took me a few weeks. It took me a few weeks to really come around to the idea of couch crashing her. And we couch crashed her for 10 days. She ended up being with us that time. And of course, as I suspected, we got close. We bonded. We had a special connection. And yeah, I adored her. She was great. And I'll talk a little bit more about her in the next section. Something very similar happened with El Pollo. He was another dog that I had been watching in shelter for some time, and I could see that he was really struggling in his kennel. And so I was hopeful that I would get to take him out on a field trip. You don't get to decide which dogs you take out when you sign up for field trips because it's based on the needs of the dogs that are currently in the program and who could benefit from it the most. But, it was just meant to be. He was meant to be. He ended up being one of my field trip dogs. And when I took him out that day, I just fell in love with him and knew that he truly was this really special boy who just needed a chance to be seen for who he is and not for how he presents in his kennel. And I got the opportunity to do that on his field trip day, but then I just felt so passionately about him, and I still do. He's still available for adoption when this is being filmed, but fingers crossed he finds his family soon. Anyway, so I knew that if I could have the opportunity to couch crash him, I wanted to. So I reached out to the shelter. They said yes. I went to pick him up for a couch crash, and then he was with us for a week. So it was another one of those situations where I just felt super connected to this dog and knew that I wanted to help him in a way I was meant to help him. So again, that's not going to be everybody's fostering experience. And I'm not claiming that that's how you should go about finding a foster dog. It's just what's happened for me. And that hasn't happened with every single one of our fosters, but I have connected with each one of them in their own way, and I care for each one of them in their own way. And of course, the number one question, the question and comments that I hear the most, that I think a lot of animal foster parents hear the most, is how do you not get attached? How do you not fall in love every single time? How are you able to let them go? The truth is, I do get attached. I do get attached. I cry. It hurts me to let them go many times. But the mindset that I keep in my head and my heart as much as possible is that I'm not doing this for me. I am doing this for them. I don't foster for my benefit. Fostering can be really rewarding and really special and just an experience that I wouldn't trade for the world, but it's also challenging and it can be really, really hard. But I do it because it gives these dogs the chance to really shine and it gives them the opportunity to find a forever home. And that's what matters. My goal is not to adopt every single dog. That should never be anybody's goal. And the truth is, I'm not the right home for every dog. Harmony, right? Even though it was so hard for me to take her back to the shelter, she ended up getting adopted that same week, I think within a couple of days of me bringing her back. And that never would have happened if I'd held on to her. She wouldn't have found this incredible family, and they would be losing out on getting to know her and what a special dog she is and receiving her love. And so I keep that in mind always, that there is a perfect fit for every animal out there and they deserve the opportunity to go and find that. So it's not up to me to be selfish and to hold on to every single person, every single animal, because then I'm taking away from them something that they deserve so much. And that helps me. That helps me a lot. The last question that I'm answering today is, how do I get my foster dog adopted? And this is a really good one. My first tip, of course, is posting to social media. I post on multiple platforms. I share videos, I share pictures. I like to show the dogs in different environments. So I'll show them in my home, I'll show them like out in the world, hiking at the beach, getting shaved ice, like whatever it is. I have found that people love seeing them out of the kennel environment, and it really helps to truly show them for who they are. I have received messages from people on my social media accounts asking me about these dogs, wanting more information, wanting photos. I have gotten dogs adopted this way. I have also been able to encourage other people to foster by doing this. And even if people don't end up connecting with or adopting this particular dog that I'm posting about, I've had really sweet messages from people saying that they went to the shelter because they saw one of my videos and ended up couch crashing somebody else and falling in love and deciding to adopt them. My next tip is also utilizing your community. I've told friends, I've told family about my foster animals, my coworkers. I've been able to bring my foster dogs to work in the past. Um, so I've asked them to share with their friends and their family and just spread the word about the dogs. And I've also been able to build a really supportive and amazing community by sharing about these animals on my social media platforms. I've connected with other people who are really passionate about caring for animals, and we've been able to support each other and share more about the dogs. So, utilize the tools that you already have, use your skills and gifts. I've offered pet portraits in the past. Offering pet portraits right now. For adoptions, I've made like little adoption gift bags. I've just gotten creative with things that I know that I'm capable of doing and that I enjoy doing to help the dogs get adopted. Ultimately, please know that if you are fostering, if you are volunteering, if you are resharing a post about a dog in need, you are doing something to help. And that means so much to everybody who's in the rescue community trying to help these animals. You are making a difference, even if you're just doing something small. I know I might have ping ponged all over the place and been a little bit sporadic today. There's just so much information that I feel like there is to share about this particular topic. And I feel really passionately about it. And I get emotional when I'm talking about it. So if I missed one of your questions, or if you have something else that you'd like to know or you want more information on, please feel free to drop a comment down below or send me a message. I am more than happy to answer more questions, do another video like this if there are enough that I didn't quite get to that more people want to know. Thank you so much for watching. Just by watching this video, by subscribing to this channel, you are helping me support rescue animals, both my rescues and all of the shelter doggies that I foster and take on field trips. So I appreciate you so, so much for doing that. It is a really wonderful and kind thing to do. And by watching this, thank you so much for your interest in fostering. I do hope that you give it a shot. And if not, that you try volunteering at your local animal shelter. It's truly a rewarding and life changing experience. I will see you guys very, very soon for our next adventure together. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Bucky says thank you for watching. Thank you for watching our video. And thank you for fostering.